phone in to us. Good evening. My name is Kirk Kirkpatrick, and I'll be the moderator today. You can call in your questions at 686-4615. And those of you watching on Facebook Live, you can just type in a question yourself. Actually, you can text a question to us at 270-925-2067. Thanks for joining us. The whole crew is here. We'll start with Judge Al Mattingly. Judge, nice to have you here.
Nice to be here, Kirk. Question, as usual.
Okay.
The pictures that you show of those county commissioners, they must have been touched up.
Oh, we do Photoshop
Okay,
those at their request.
I just wondered.
Sure. Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
And all three of the commissioners are here this week as well. Charlie Caslin.
Good evening,
Charlie,
Kirk.
nice to have you
Good
here.
to be here.
George Wathen.
Glad to be here. And by the way, there's only one of those pictures
That
that
was
has been touched up.
And Mike Koger.
Good evening, Kirk. Nice
Nice to
be
have you
Thank you.
here. Well, let's make some news here. First of all, we are interested in your questions, and so please phone them in, 686-4615. Judge, the news is you just got out of the EDC meeting. Now, this is an annual meeting of the Economic Development Commission. Is it commission or corporation?
Economic Development Corp.
Corporation. Helen Mountjoy, of course,
Yes.
the interim president. And give us an update. What's the plan?
It was our annual meeting for all the investors and any interested people. Helen, I thought, did an excellent job. A lot of people talk about, well, it was just beating the drum for economic development. Of course it was. I mean, we do that. The investors need to know what they got for their investment.
Well, let me ask you who the investors are, to be clear, because city, the county.
City and the county are two public investors, right. But then we have the private sector that invests, and it's about a third.
Yeah.
So
to help pay for
the cost. Now, one of the things that Helen reported was that for every dollar invested in economic development, roughly $250 is returned. Now, I don't know of anyone who wouldn't invest a dollar to get $250 back. Helen talked about this community. We have made a place that attracts people into our community now. We have a wonderful workforce training programs going on. And now our job, we need to shift focus, I think. I believe everybody will agree, we need to shift focus and try to bring higher paying jobs into the community so that people will be able to live their lives with dignity, be able to put money into their retirement, to buy homes, send their kids to college, and retire and live their life out in this community.
Well, we all want higher paying jobs, but
yes.
How do you really land higher paying jobs?
Well, I think that one of the things that you do, how you do it is with your workforce. At 4.2% unemployment, that is virtually, I remember Madison Silver, and I'm going to slap him around a little bit, used to say 6% unemployment was going to be the norm. Well, we blew through 6%, we blew through 5%, we're now at 4.2%. And I think having a very well-trained workforce is what a lot of people look at. I know when I've talked to industrial prospects in the past, one of the things that I've always been impressed with was our ability to ramp up and train folks. And one of the things that Helen talked about at Alorica was that, Brescia College stepped up and provided training. OCTC steps up and provides training. There are lots of folks that can provide the training necessary to provide those well-educated and trained employees. I know in my private business, it would be nothing without the workforce that I have. And it's harder and harder to find. She talked about blue collar. Everybody knows blue collar. Everybody knows white collar. But what was it they called it, George?
The new collar.
The new collar. The new collar jobs, which means that you don't have to have particularly a baccalaureate degree, but you have to have technical training, because all the jobs today, and even some of the jobs that we used to think of as just pure old manual labor, now require some technical training. And if we can have a workforce, number one, a workforce that's trained, but number two, an adequate workforce. Now, an adequate workforce means, what do? I want to attract people from other communities into our community. And how do you do that? You do it with quality of life.
And opportunities,
opportunities,
for
so-
them in these larger jobs. Do you all have examples of success stories where whether it's the college, Brescia, or others have stepped in to take someone that has either lost their job or is looking for a job? You're right. A plumber is no longer a guy just with a wrench.
That's correct.
And there's no car mechanic now that doesn't really understand.
You don't know computers
That's
and,
right.
and electronics, you can't fix anything. Let me give you the perfect
Okay.
example, GoFame. Talk to anybody who is involved in GoFame. That's where we take kids out of high school. They sign a contract, they go to work for an employer, they go to school 2 days a week, they work a minimum of 24 hours. Right now, the success rate is 99 to 100%.
And they get paid for this work.
And
It's
they
like
get,
a paid internship
that's right.
with
and
training.
All but one that has gone through it that we know of, I think she said today, was hired and retained by the person training them. It's a wonderful example, and we're expanding it. Used to, it was
How much money do they make? I mean,
that I don't know. I don't
Right.
know the particulars about it, but I can tell you
mean-
that one, Will Mounts, Momaco Plastics, he says that every dollar that he's invested in the GoFame students, he has recouped many times over.
My understanding is they make whatever the entry level for that manufacturing
correct.
company.
But that's often $20 to $24 an hour plus benefits, depending on the
I
organization.
don't think it would
So-
probably start that high, Kurt, because that would be someone that was well skilled and trained.
Right, full of
They're
training.
full of training. But just think about this. U.S. Bank has now started a GoFame chapter. So now they're training folks in the banking industry, and we're looking for other industries that would be interested. And when you make that training available, I think that it absolutely is imperative that we tout the fact that we have a well-qualified workforce.
And
There's
just
a-
to add to that, don't forget, they'll be opening the new building at OCTC probably
In
in October,
January?
November, but they'll start
Okay.
teaching in
Teaching
January.
So, and the
That's
city and the
soon.
county both invested $1 million in that. I mean, we have to invest. If you stop investing, then you're going to plateau out. And once you plateau out and stop moving forward, then you start to decline. And bad analogy or good analogy, I don't know, but what happened to Owensboro in the 80s and the early 90s? We kind of plateaued out, and we started seeing things decline.
Yeah.
And it really takes a lot of effort. It takes boldness and leadership, but above all, it took $160 million to reverse that slide, because that's what the city has invested over the last 7 years, 8 years.
Are you?
like that.
Yes,
City and
Mike?
county, I'm
Like
sorry,
Matt,
city and county.
Right,
You
combined.
talk about
Yeah.
the workforce, like with your plumbers, HVAC people and all, they have to have a license. I mean, they work toward the license, you get the license, you get the big dollars. And generally, whether it's through the schools they're being trained or working for some of your shops, and then they go take a test. So it's not just, you walk in and say, hey, I'm a plumber. It's like, you're a plumber when you can show that license, or you're an HVAC journeyman, or
When you
electrician.
show up on time and can pass a drug test, and
Yes.
that's the other issue that
Yes.
this community understands. And I attended our Alliance of Substance Abuse today, and we talked about how pervasive substance abuse is in our community, and don't just think about it in opioids and meth and those kinds of things. Alcohol, one of a huge issue. So, we have to understand those things. We have to work together as a community to do it. No one city or the county by itself can get by. It's a cooperative effort with one thought in mind: move the community forward. And a second thought in mind is to lift up all of our citizens.
Well, Kirk, I just want, if I could interject, when you're talking about the training and you wanted real life examples, I've got two clients. One went to 4-year program, got a 4-year business degree, wasn't able to get the kind of work that he wanted, and he just quit. Went back and got the electrician program at OCTC, and wound up landing a very good job. Very pleased with what he does now. Had another client, worked at Hahn, lost his job when they shut down, did the same program, and landed a very good paying job. And as Al's heard me say many times, I've bragged on my son, he chose the 2-year route versus the 4-year route. And he works at Alaris, same program those two individuals went through.
Extremely valuable employee. Daniel, to my knowledge, is happy,
Yeah.
fulfilled in his job. And Daniel, I use your name, so you another dollar.
Yeah.
Well, other good news, understood that Alcoa, which of course is across the
Right.
river, is starting a new pot line, I guess.
They're reopening
Reopening.
2 or 3 pot lines that they had idled, and 225 jobs.
That's
George,
the number
is that
I
what
saw
you
this
said?
morning.
But if you know, those are not 225 jobs that just come out of Indiana. They're going to come from Henderson County, from Davis County. As I was growing up, a lot of folks that I knew worked at Alcoa.
Sure.
And they were very good jobs, very good paying jobs. So, you know, whatever is good for the region, whatever is good for this community. We do not live in a vacuum. We do not live in a vacuum, and we need people around the region to make good wages so they can come over and visit and take advantage of the amenities that we have laid out. Friday after 5, that's so famous and infamous.
Well, I believe that quality of life is important. I think all families feel that way. We often take for granted, we very seldom talk about police and fire here because we have a very safe community. I mean, it's remarkably safe for being as large as we are.
At the Alliance for Substance Abuse today, against substance abuse, I always say for, and we're not for it. The first 6 months of this year, there were 2 murders in Davis County. We have a population of about 100,000. In Louisville, there were 22 murders per 100,000 population.
Wow.
Yeah.
22. If you look at the crime, the statistics on crime and substance abuse, so far, knock on wood, the heroin epidemic that my brothers in Jefferson
Yeah.
County and Fayette County and Northern Kentucky
It's
struggle
rocking
with.
them to the core. I'll
It
tell
is.
you.
We do not see that. Now, we still have in this community a meth problem, and it's, used to it was manufactured meth, but we don't manufacture much. I mean, the number of meth labs that were arrested, people were arrested for manufacturing was way down. A lot of it is being brought in from Mexico, crystal meth being imported into the community, and it's cheap. And once if it ever becomes expensive again, then you may see heroin come in. But that led us to a big discussion on needle exchange. And needle exchange.
And how do you, what's
Well,
this?
I am chair
the
of
two sides of
I
it?
am chair of the Davis County Health Department. We voted to have the director to investigate, see what other communities were doing, and to be prepared. Now, the Davis County Health Department cannot institute a needle exchange. It is up to the local government, city or county government. The county, I guess, could impose a needle exchange and make it countywide, including the city. There are two sides. One side thinks, well, it just enables the people who use drugs. The other side, and I am on that other side, in that it's number one, you stop the spread of disease, and one of the key constitutional responsibilities of county government is public health and public safety. I know that you've heard about the county over in Indiana where they had a HIV epidemic because dirty needles were being used. If I can stop that, I am absolutely going to do all I can to convince everyone else to get on board. The biggest thing for me is it may be the only safe setting that those people who are addicted to drugs will have to come in contact with somebody who could counsel and give them help and get them help. Because I'm going to tell you, those folks don't want to be on drugs. They're miserable. They would give their life to get off of it. And I know that from experience because I had a brother who was addicted to methamphetamine, and you know, he changed. He went to rehab and spent the last 5-6 years of his life. They were the best 5 or 6 years of his life. So. But at some
First-hand
point,
experience, yeah.
firsthand. But at some point, that will come to fiscal court, and I'm sure there will be a debate, and it will be controversial. Where it'll end up, I don't have any idea, but I can tell you where my vote's going to be.
Will be.
Yes.
Yes. Your calls at 686-4615. Let's talk about the east side a little bit. And I think this is the fifth, or no, it's the sixth spray park that we're talking about. And
In the city
that's
and the
Horse
county.
Fork,
In the city and the county, totally,
combined.
yeah, yeah.
But this will be the largest. Will be the largest spray park. This is in Horse Fork
Horse Fork Creek Park.
Creek Park. And George, you want to fill us in about what the plans are for that? It's expensive, but it certainly is less expensive than operating a pool.
Well, what we're going to do, first thing we're going to do is going to probably redo the entrance roads to the park so that we won't have any crisscrossing across the paths for the children with cars. And then we're just going to have a large spray park. We're taking one of the buildings that are there now, and we're going to use it as a shelter for shade. And it's just going to be a nice big spray park.
It's a beautiful
A lot
park.
of,
and
a
it'd
lot
be-
of opportunity for fun. And we've got some good parking next door to it, so it should
right
be.
there at the green belt. And of course, Fairview is supposed to be widened here sometime in the
Yes.
future. Will that impact where
We're
you put-
taking that into consideration when we build it.
Kirk, one of the things that we want to do, this is truly an urban suburban park, county park, and I suspect that there will be more city residents using that park than rural residents coming in and using the park, which is great because we represent all 100,000 people in Davis County. One of the things that we've talked about in the past, originally that was a soccer park. That was our part of the 1999 master plan and the revised Parks Master Plan 2007 or 8. But part of the problem that we have is the playground is up high and on the backside of the property, and it's hidden from view. So I think moms are hesitant
Yeah.
to take their kids back there. We want to bring that down to that lower level
It's a great park.
and have people utilize it more.
Right. Question from Nancy. Is there a budget to update the lighting at the baseball diamonds in Panther Creek Park?
As a
George?
matter of fact, there is. Our plan is to do one field per year because it's pretty expensive. It's probably over $150,000 per field, believe it or not.
Really?
So our plan is to do out of Panther Creek, field number 3, then we'll do field number 1, and then 2 we'll do it last, and it'll be the least expensive because we'll share some poles with 1 and 3. But we plan on doing one per year, and that way we can cash flow it, and it's easier to handle. We don't have to borrow any money, and it's going to add a lot to the field. A lot.
Well, and we forget how important you're talking about a destination city. The number of events and tournaments all throughout the year, even in the winter now because of tennis. The tennis.
Well, there's a couple of reasons we need to do those lights, if I might just
Sure.
mention. One is we've got some dark areas, especially in field 3, and then also our poles are wooden, and the woodpeckers are eating our poles up, and that's a true story. We're going to have to do something.
So what they wanted to provide more light, so when the woodpeckers dined, they
And
wouldn't.
they-
we
maybe
wanna-
different
We
poles,
may
I
leave the
guess,
poles
right?
up there to keep the
Your
woodpeckers happy.
questions at 270
Whoops, there goes that green snake.
686
Green snake's going across.
4615.
But you're right, Kirk. The tennis, the new tennis center, the county invested in the tennis center. The county invested in the event center. The county has invested along with the city in a lot of those things.
Of course, the convention center and
to make those kinds of things available so that we can bring. Summertime, you're limited, and when I say limited, you can only pack so many events into so many weeks. Wintertime is where you can really save some cost or defray some of the costs if you can rent those out. It's just like a private business. If your peak time is April to November,
Sure.
you can't do any more. But if you can sell things in December, January, and February, hey, that goes to your bottom line.
well, that's Blake Henry, who is the new general manager of the Owensboro Convention Center, taking Dean's place, sees that as the greatest opportunity for
Absolutely.
expansion of the winter months.
George, our new CVB director, I don't know that we've.
Mark Calitri.
Yeah,
Yes.
He's doing an excellent job. I'm really pleased with him and in conversation with him. He's got a lot of great
He
ideas.
brings some good ideas
He
too.
does, he does.
As did Blake. Blake, coming from such a larger area, has talked to me a little bit about some of the ideas that he thinks he can pull off here. That really, coming from such a much larger area, he thinks there's opportunity there. So-
Kirk, if I might be allowed just a personal comment, I know that Charlie would never bring this up, but I know Lisa is watching, and I want to say, Lisa, we feel your pain.
Well, she's going to be okay. It's her tonsils, okay? It's not anything. You're scared people. People think they're. How's she doing?
Charlie,
She's doing well.
You're going to bring
Good.
some ice cream home to her?
I
and-
may do that.
That's
he
good.
told me that he wanted me to come over and cheer her up.
Take her-
Oh, that would
take her a
that would do it.
Snickers.
Snickerdoodle?
Kirk,
Snicker
I just
Blizzard.
want you to know he's full of it tonight. He mentioned the
He's on
greatest
fire.
thing. Yeah, he's on fire.
Hey, Kurt, I just want to mention, and you talk about Blake trying to bring some different things, convention series, trying to, a couple of country acts.
Yeah.
And be good for the winter months, people to go, and we need to support that. It helps everybody. They eat, people come, they're going to eat out, get rooms, and it's just another way to get more people to the convention center.
How about the city celebration of 200th birthday down
Well,
at the fireworks display on
I
the
was
4th?
there,
I was
and here's
too.
one of the topics I wanted to bring up was city-county cooperation, and that may have been the most spectacular cooperative event. Now, you all have done this before, but not on this scale.
During our 200th bicentennial, the city and the county combined for a
Correct.
big fireworks display. And I thought only right that we would return the favor to our county seat, and which we did. And I thought it was great. Now, quite frankly, county took a little bit of heat because we didn't have the special fireworks display for a few people who live out in Panther Creek Park. It will return next year, but not on the 4th. It will be on Labor Day weekend. And the Parks Board thought, and I think rightly so, number one, there are tons of events on the 4th of July. But number two, it's a way to honor all labor and dignify all labor in our community. So I think it was a good move.
Spreading it out. I think
Yep.
that's a great idea. You all started that 2 years ago when it rained on the 4th of
Yes.
July so
That's-
badly
oh.
that you really had no
Yes.
choice or so. So that worked out pretty well, a new precedent
It did.
there.
Well, and Keith Lawrence on the Messenger Inquirer, I saw him post on Facebook that he just stayed at home, Kirk, and watched a 3-hour program.
His neighbors, and his neighbors have a 4th of July. So many of them.
When you get to be Keith's age, there are a lot of things that just upset you.
You don't want to argue with people that buy ink by the gallon,
That's-
Judge.
Amen.
If it's Keith, I don't mind it.
Let's talk about Mentulsa. The Mentulsa, is it?
Yes, Metulsa.
Metulsa. Metulsa is a car parts maker
Yes.
in the air park.
Yes.
They have, with your support and the cities, now looking to expand too.
Yes,
Is that how promising is that?
I don't know. I know that there was another competition, and I can't tell you where, that was closer to their customer, which was going to save on freight. I mean, if you're shipping a
A
car,
competing community that bid.
community. So we're hoping that the cities, the state incentive, the city's incentive, and the county incentive will induce them to stay here. It's kind of like when Glenmore expanded. We thought it was worthy of the investment the county made in it because it just cemented that relationship. And if you invest hundreds of millions of dollars into a community, it's not very likely that you're just going to chop it off and
Right.
move somewhere else. So we're hopeful. I think we have a good shot. I think we have a good shot because of our work, because the current Metulsa is familiar, number one, with
Yeah.
the community, number two, with the workforce. So I think we have an opportunity to get it. I hope we do, because it's 113 good paying jobs.
Another question. This one is from George, I guess for George, really. On the agenda for the fiscal year is a land farming operation near Pinkston Road, and that's really part of this, to divert sludge materials away
Yes.
from the landfill
Right,
itself.
right.
Can you explain what's going on there?
Yes, the sludge is the product that comes from RWRA's treatment plant. Once it's gone all the way through the process is completely, they can't treat it anymore, and they bring it to us. In the past, we've always just put it in our landfill. And that has caused a little bit of a problem because there's too much moisture in our landfill. And then we have to end up dealing with that on a lot of different fronts. But it particularly hinders our getting the methane gas out of the pile of trash, so to speak. So, and that's not good because you don't want that, you want that out of there because it's a fire hazard and other things. So what we're going to do, we have purchased a couple hundred acres of strip land that is adjacent to our landfill, and we will be what they call land farming. What we do is we'll spread the sludge, the treated product, across on that land. It also helps treat the land, make the better, more fertile. But then we're going to also plant hay on it, and we'll take that hay, and after we cut it, we'll put it in our compost and make. We actually have a lot of people that want our
Sure.
compost, so we make a lot of compost, and this will allow us to make more compost and sell it for our gardeners and different people.
And this sludge is powerful fertilizer.
Yes,
It's
It is, and we have purchased some equipment, tractors and different things, and disc, and so that we can do this land farming properly, and it should solve a lot of problems for us with a little bit of expense.
Kirk, let me assure or reassure everyone that's out there, when they talk about sludge from RWRA, they're thinking about poop. Well, the residual is completely inert. It's been
Yeah.
treated chemically, ultraviolet. It has been treated so there is no bacteria, no virus, no anything. It is good fertilizer. And the county, I just signed a stack of papers that high and sent it to the state because they look at each and every.
Wow.
We actually have to divide remember, Charlie, when they were showing and George, you and I were out, we divide them into tracks. We put so much sludge on this tract on such and such a day and did this and did that so that we have a record of each and every transaction.
Very
that
controlled
goes.
process.
It's extremely
Well, two quick
controlled.
questions here. Let's talk about compost. I'm a gardener. I'd love to get some compost. Where do you actually get it? You've got a great price and it's great quality. So
I don't know what the price is, but if you'll go to the landfill, you can get it from a small container to a truckload.
and about
As
all
long
you
as
want.
we're not out. We
Right.
we run out every year.
Really?
Right.
So, and another thing, someone was asking me about the transfer station. Now, if you've got an old refrigerator, you've got anything that's too big for the dumpster, you can take it there as long as you have an OMU bill or some, right? You
Yes.
can just,
Let me clarify
Yeah.
that real quick. City residents pay a fee for their sanitation, for trash pickup. So when a city resident comes, you show an OMU bill, that shows that you dispose your trash, and we bill the city. Now, we have county residents come out, they pay.
and all you need for identification is, well,
County
you gotta do it
residents
because you
can come
pay.
out because
Right.
they pay.
Okay.
Now, so the county residents say it's not fair. City residents don't have to pay.
Right.
They do pay.
Yeah.
They pay it through the fee that they pay
You
to
get
to
back.
the city of Owensboro.
But this is a great way to get rid of things that you don't want and to do it safely and to make sure that it's either recycled or at least not just thrown in a ditch somewhere. You remember years ago,
And
people would
remember,
just,
those refrigerators and things like that, we will dispose of them properly.
That's correct.
We'll take care of getting the gas out of them.
Right.
Do all
It's an
things we
important
need to
thing.
do, and then recycle the metal.
Yes.
We will recycle the metal.
any questions about any topic, what number should they call at fiscal court?
685. I don't remember.
You're giving George's number out. What-
8424.
8424, yeah.
I don't remember.
There are a lot of services that we don't even have a chance to talk
Yeah.
about. I just want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank the fiscal court. They actually produced this program. They felt it was important to give the citizens of the community, of the entire county, an opportunity to, of course, you can always come to one of the fiscal court meetings, but this is a little bit different. So thank you all for producing it. All the team here at OCTC, we appreciate them too, and we'll see you next month on Speak Up.